Welcome to another episode of Mavacy. This podcast is here to talk about law, succession planning, culture, leadership, but most importantly, a twist of sports. Today, we have Nick on. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Michael. I
Awesome,
appreciate it.
awesome. Appreciate you hopping on. I think let's start before we dive into anything else. You got a really cool business that does some pretty awesome things. Tell us a little bit about your business and a little bit about the type of work you guys do in the creative space.
Absolutely. Yeah. Since I was a kid, I've always thought of myself as an entrepreneur. I've always been entrepreneurial. I was the kid in the neighborhood who would round my friends up and go and shovel driveways when it snowed and to make some money. And then we would go and buy sports cards with it. And so I've always kind of taken that entrepreneurial spirit through life.
Yeah.
After I graduated college, I started a creative agency, but at the time it wasn't necessarily a creative agency. It was just me solving problems for small businesses, whether it be designing them business cards or making them a website. And then I slowly started to ride these waves. And it's kind of like what I call it is in marketing, there's these waves that you ride. And uh, at the time, 2013, it was building people websites. And then 2014, it was all companies need to be on social media. And so I would bring on a person that could help amplify people's business presence from a social standpoint. And then it was short form video content creation. And it was how do we get views and engagement? And it was all around short form content creation. So I built and
Yeah.
assembled a multimedia team. And now it's leaning into AI and technology and software as a service. And so today we have a creative agency. We were one of the fastest growing companies in Pittsburgh back in 2019, full service brand strategy creative. And we're right now on the cusp of making our first position of another agency in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. And so it's been a fun little ride and it's fun. It's just like an entrepreneur's journey is like I talked about riding the waves in business and services. It's you ride that roller coaster wave as an entrepreneur with highs and lows and things like that as well. So, but it's fun. I wouldn't change any of it.
Awesome. So I think two things is what's a difficult or a tough call you've had to make, whether it be with internally with a team member or with a client. How were you able to decide it, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I think that, it's always, my dad always said, if your intentions are in the right place, you can never make a wrong decision. And so I always kind of go back and try to think of that. But whenever you're meeting with somebody for the first time, your goal is to win their business, right? But sometimes what you're offering isn't the problem solved to their business. And so I think it's balancing that, the tough call of like doing the right thing and going in with the right intent to help somebody out. But the ultimate goal is to win their business, right? In a pitch, you want to win their business, but sometimes the right thing to do is to solve a problem for them that you might not be the solution for, but it's with the right intent. And I think that always leaves a good taste in a client's mouth. And that's kind of the perspective that I try to take whenever I'm meeting with new people. Just do the right thing.
Yeah. You alluded to this technology and AI. I think all industries, especially professional services, have been transformed. How has technology and AI really changed the landscape for you and what you're doing?
Enormously. I feel like our industry in general, like marketing, is a commodity, right? This has made it even more so a commodity. And so we've tried to lean into it. I think you have to. I think strategic people need to lean into AI and technology and use it to their advantage. I think what it does is, I think what AI is going to do in terms of like standardizing what the commodity part of business and marketing is today, they will do that better than a hire, right? But I
Mhm.
think where you win, that middle section of your business where like the production and then delivery gets done, AI
Yeah,
is gonna crush that. They're not
yeah,
going, it's gonna be hard to compete with it. But I think where you win is outside the lines of that strategy, that
yeah.
creative that happens at the very, very beginning. AI is not going to be able to understand, like you and I have just been talking, unreasonable hospitality. They're not going to be able to solve for that, right?
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've taken the approach of like, let's lean into this and make ourselves more efficient across the board in the areas where we know that this can play. It
Uh,
frees ourselves up to do things where we can be more strategic and more creative and be more of a touch point for a customer or a client, and leave the things that AI does well, the standardized copy and some design aspect. Let them do that because they're going to do it really, really well. Yesterday, the Nano Banana 2 came out. And if you haven't seen that, that's crazy in terms of like taking from a photo generation standpoint. It's a Gemini product. It's nuts in terms of like how good it is. It's very
yeah.
impressive. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I think first thing, AI is not going to replace the professional, right? It's there to enhance, I think, more than anything. I think there's a nomenclature like, oh, I'm just going to run my legal document through ChatGPT, or I'm going to use Canva and ChatGPT to do all my marketing.
Uh-huh.
And in my opinion, you can do that. It's probably not the best and most strategic thing to do. I think what you'll end up with is a shot of your product or a shot of your business. I think if you think about enterprise value, you build a business to drive value, both for
Uh-huh.
your clients who will pay for that and ultimately to potentially have a sale or a succession one day. There's got to be enterprise value for that to happen. I think technology helps get you there. It isn't this ultimate solution by itself.
Right. And everybody has the same tools available to them, right? Like all those tools are available. It's who's using them? How well
Yep.
are you using them? Are you better than the next person who's using them? Right? Like everybody has these tools that are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what do you do with it?
You made a comment about one of my favorite books. It's sitting here on my desk. Unreasonable Hospitality.
Uh-huh.
As you know, I've taken that and expanded it to unreasonable legal hospitality. But you had a chance to read Will's book. What do you think about the remarkable power of giving people more than they expected?
I like to think that naturally I think like this, but
Yeah.
that was one that really, really resonated with me because being in the service industry, and a lot of the people that we deal with are in the service industry, that should be a mandatory read for people in the service industry because that's where you create the legends and those memorable moments that
Mhm.
they talk about, right? And you and I have talked about this topic a lot. And living it is not something that you can kind of turn off and turn on. It's something you should be thinking about all the time. How do you leave
Yeah.
a lasting memory? I think companies in the future should really consider, if it's the right industry, really consider that dream weaver position. I think that would be
Yes.
that's a differentiator, but it's the thing that like what's going to keep customers coming back. And it's
Yeah.
it's it's the going onto the street, pulling off the hot dog, getting the hot dog and making it memorable thing that didn't cost very much money, but it's not
That's
about
right.
how much things cost. It's what's going to leave a lasting impact. So yeah, I loved it.
It's all that matters. It's not
Hmm.
what matters, it's all that matters. I said to someone, if you want to have really good clients, you know what the number one job is? To make them happy. It's not about this product or service you deliver to them, but everyone has products and services. No one that has, you know, unless they have some proprietary solution or something patented and only they can sell you, right?
Hmm.
If you're not doing something different, you're gonna have a hard time being better. And I think just it was the first book that I read lots of books, obviously, but it's the first book I read that's like that's explains what I do. Is that,
Hmm.
how do you leave someone's experience better than when they got there?
Hmm.
Right. And it's funny. I read a book once about a very successful lawyer, and they attributed a lot of their legal success to the fact that one of their first jobs was being a waiter. And when you think about that, the hospitality industry is the epitome of how to be successful in professional service providing.
Yeah.
And so if you've been successful serving, waiting tables, and if you have any skill in your profession, you're going to do pretty good in that profession. I don't know if that's enough for HR to make that a hiring mandate, but it definitely makes a difference is that, people don't remember what you said. They don't remember how you said it. They remember how you left them feeling. And I think that book summarizes it best. I think one of my favorite lines, there's a lot. If you look at Bunny marked a lot of these pages, but The woman talks about they didn't hire her ultimately in an interview, but they asked about unreasonable hospitality or just hospitality in general. And she said, it's a lot like seeing something in color after you've been viewing it in black and white.
Yeah.
And you just know when you see it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such that, albeit that didn't define it, it so defined it.
Yeah. Are there certain things that you've taken from that and implemented it across Mavacy?
I'd like to think so. Just like they were a work in progress for how many years to get to be the number one restaurant in the world. I don't think it happens overnight. It's a unwavering commitment every day, every
Mhm.
week, every month, every year to being unreasonable, to delivering legal hospitality. I think you see it internally how we work with team members, our onboarding, orientation, and training process to bring on a new team member. I'd like to think we're making it world class. It's not
Yeah.
like most organizations, especially with organizations of our resources. We
Mhm.
pour a lot into that. I think you'll notice it in how we handle things for our team members, whether they be our virtual water coolers or whether they be just different things we do for the team with the team. I love when we were rolling out a new program and system, we turned it into a talk show host game. That was awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we do things that are memorable. I think the other thing is, knowing what someone's favorite dessert is goes a long way.
Mhm.
And those are the kind of details that we care about and pay attention to here at Mavacy internally. And so I'd like to think that we provide unreasonable legal hospitality to our team members,
Yeah.
both the legal professionals and those who support the legal professionals.
Yeah.
And that's something we're constantly striving towards. We have, you know, a culture team that is focused on how do we do that. I think externally we get told a lot, you guys are not like most lawyers. I think that's a compliment from the way we do our social media, which I think is pretty memorable, to the branding we use, which I think is pretty memorable. I think we position ourselves in a very innovative, modern, and creative problem solving way. We all have degrees, we have LLMs, that's cool. We can put those initials down and you can put them on our bio and that's great, but it's the intangible, it's the soft skills that we're really focused on and with our team and how we deliver those to a client. I think you'll hear me say this a lot. We want to be on time, on budget before someone has to ask about it.
Mhm.
That's our goal. We don't live that all the time. And when we don't, we want to hear feedback on that, but that is our goal. And we're not going to get it perfect all the time. And we would ask that our clients have grace around that because we aren't going to be perfect with that. But what we do is every day when we wake up to serve our clients and deliver high quality legal services, we're doing it with the intention to deliver it on time, on budget, before someone has to ask about it. And when you think about it in the terms of hospitality, hospitality delivers more than is expected before you expected it. That's
Yeah.
the whole point of hospitality, or you didn't even expect it. And so I think we really focus on that and how we ultimately deliver our services and our products to our clients. I think that's an important part. And then I think the other side is that how we interact with our vendors. People kind of take that for granted, but whether it be a vendor that is serving us or someone we're in partnership with, but how do we actually have that relationship? Is it truly transactional or is it a relationship?
Mm.
How do we focus on building a relationship? And I think the last part I would say is that, referral partners, that's an important part. And how do we build that relationship and collaborate with them? And I think each one of those is approached from this filter of unreasonable legal hospitality. And I think we do that. We encompass it in our marketing and our branding. And it's something that I'm super proud of. And I know we strive for every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks
well
for asking.
said. And not as many people think of the details and how important the details are that matter. That's one of the big takeaways that I had whenever I was reading that is
Yeah.
how thoughtful people need to be, right? And it's
Yeah.
details.
Let me ask you this. We talk a lot about law firm succession planning and some may say, why are you going to ask the marketing person about that? Right. Keep that with finance and legal. But from where you sit, what's important to be thinking about from a marketing or branding standpoint when you are looking at a law firm succession?
Well, I would say that your brand's what people say about you when nobody's in the room, right? Or when you're not in the room. If you've done your job from building that brand and establishing that legacy, I mean, I would say that it's important that's value, right? Like that is created value that you've spent time and effort and built a client base around. establishing, right? So why is that important? Well, first of all, a brand has value. Second of all, that value shouldn't go to waste. Like if you've done your job of creating something that can stand the test of time and there is a legacy value there, there should be a plan in place whenever it comes to like handing that off and like a changing of the guard, for example, so that you can maximize that. Because that brand, when you're done, doesn't mean that the brand has to die off, right?
Yeah.
If you've done your
So
job of building brand, that's why brand is so important in our
so
world.
is there like a sorry to cut you off. Is there like a strategy or like not asking you to share your secrets, but I mean like you're talking to a potential law firm who's thinking about succession planning, like what should they be thinking about? What where are the pain points that they should be considering or looking at when you're making the decision for how do you build a strategy around the brand and market as you do a succession plan?
I would say, would this be successful if you weren't in it, right? If you remove yourself from this, does that brand still mean something or does it not? It's pretty simple whenever you can answer the question like that. Does it mean something or does it not whenever you're removed from it? And if the answer is it doesn't mean as much whenever I'm removed from it, then that's where it becomes important to building that plan and focusing on what the brand means without, use founder led organizations, right? When did it take a while for Apple to figure out some things whenever Steve Jobs was gone? I mean, was there a succession plan in place? Probably, but did it feel the same? It took a while to get back to what it
Sure.
felt like, right? Because
Yeah.
founder led organizations really absorb that DNA of that individual. Is that right or wrong or indifferent? I think it's something that just needs to be thought of and addressed. And that's why strategies and focusing on the brand for long term success, whether the founder's in there or the founder is removed, is so important. And that's what we try to do from a marketing and a brand standpoint. And obviously, you know, with Mavacy, that's problem solve on your end that you have built and put in place for individuals and attorneys and things of that nature.
Awesome. Cool. I I could not agree more that there's an important plan that needs to be in place as you do look at that succession planning. I do want to ask one thing about culture is that culture is typically built on values. Is there a moment in your career, at least, where your values cost you something, and why would you do it again?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. I think that at the end of all of this, you're judged on how you made people feel, but your intentions, like, doing the right thing. If you do the right thing all the time, it certainly is going to cost you billings or opportunities. It's going to cost you things. But I think that you are the one who has to go home and lay your head down and be like, I did the right thing. Like if your intentionality is in the right place and your focus is in doing the right thing, that's what culture can be built on that, right? And you don't
Yeah,
go to bed knocking yourself for not closing a deal or doing something that's going to put more money in your pocket when it wasn't the right thing. And so I think that from a value standpoint, like I said, just trying to live with the fact that if your intentions are in the right spot, you're never going to make a wrong decision. And so I think that that's a culture that we've tried to instill here at Spark, and it's easy to live like that if you know that you're
yeah,
being a good person.
makes sense. I want to take a left turn here. We're going to talk a little about sports. What's your favorite
Uh-huh.
golf course?
To play,
Yeah.
favorite golf course to play. Oh, that's a great question. Laurel Valley in Pennsylvania, really good. They had a Ryder
Is
Cup
it
there. I played some good courses too, but yeah, that's a one of my favorite ones
is
to
there a
play.
course that's on your like bucket list that you want to play?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, growing up in Pittsburgh, Oakmont. I've had all my friends caddied at Oakmont. I grew up right next to Oakmont. I've still yet to play Oakmont. The day I ruptured my Achilles a couple years ago. The day after I ruptured my Achilles, somebody called and said, "Do you want to play Oakmont?" And so obviously I couldn't play, but
Yeah.
I know enough people there that I could get out there. I haven't really pushed enough, but that
Yeah.
would be one for sure because of the history, the legacy, the U.S. Opens and things. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Favorite type of clubs.
I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a little bit of
What's in your bag right now?
I have a TaylorMade QI 35 driver. I have ping irons. I have a Odyssey putter. I'm a little bit a mixed bag all over the place. You know,
Yeah.
whatever's working at the time stays in the bag. Yeah.
So you're tinkering. You're tinkering.
Yeah. You always got to be tinkering.
So you're 100 yards out downhill into the wind, little light wind, half club wind. Pins tucked up front. What are you hitting?
A 56. But if you're into the wind, those things are gonna it's gonna balloon on you. So you just gotta like not a full. You gotta like drive it through the wind. Those are tough shots, by the way, because you have
I
to kind of
know.
like be a little bit strategic. But yeah, a sandwich, just flight it down. You gotta flight it down a
You're
little.
much more skilled than I am then. I would take it
What
out of
would
the
you hit?
wind. I would probably pitch it up there if I'm being honest. Try to just catch it and have it run up, assuming there's no trap in front. Otherwise, I probably would hit a I think I'd hit a 54, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 The main thing is just getting it on the green. That's how you get there. It doesn't really matter. Just get it
Yeah.
on the green.
The last thing, and this has a lot to do with leadership, actually, this question. Your caddy tells you it's gonna break a ball, 2 balls to the left, and you don't see it go in there. What do you do?
You trust the caddy.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. That's a great question because people talk about this all the time. If the caddy has been there if like you've obviously, if it's the first hole, I don't know if I'm listening to his read, but if it's like halfway through and he's like, this guy knows his thing, guy or girl knows there's what they're talking about. Yeah, you're going to listen to them. My friend, one of my best friends growing up, he is the number one caddy at Oakmont today. He got a bag in the U.S. Open this summer. It was the only amateur to make the cut. I asked him, I hung out with him the moving day, Saturday of the U.S. Open, where his guy, the only amateur who made the cut, was still in the field. And this is a top amateur in the world on the hardest golf course in the world. I said that his name is Aaron. I said to him, I was like, how many shots do you think you actually saved this guy? And we would have been 1, 2, 3 rounds in. And he said at least 10 to 12 from the
Really?
caddy. Yeah. And I believe it. I believe it because this guy, he's done this for a long time at Oakmont, knows exactly where to hit it, where to miss. And that's the thing is like golf, just like a business too. Like you need to know where you miss. You're not going to do everything perfectly. So you need to know where you're going to miss to best optimize your next play. And he said 10 to 12 shots. And that blew me away because I did not think it would be that many for the caliber of golfer that was, right? But I can say that like I played Pinehurst with a good caddy and they saved you multiple shots around. Yeah. So I would listen. I would listen to the 2 balls out. Yeah.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Well, Nick, I appreciate you taking the time and chatting a little legal succession, leadership, culture, and most importantly, sports. Thank you for taking the
Absolutely.
time to join the Mavacy Mic'd Up.
Thank you. We'll do it again.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
Michael.
Appreciate you.
See ya.